it looks like it's 12 o'clock on the numbers here, and I'd like to welcome everyone to, this is our week 14 of the weekly construction updates. And again, as been the format, we have the public portion here that's televised and just give an update and address any concerns. Then we break out and discuss the project more in detail, I guess. Had a big week at the end of last week. We obviously made the switch with work being completed on the south side and now progressing on the north side. So that switch is completed late Friday night. And we have the temporary signal open at Fulton Street, and the start of this week, everything's in progression. The pavement removals, got the utility work here started now on the west end, and in addition to that, the concrete work on the south side, there's just a little bit left there to be completed, and the thought is that'd be completed today. As far as the actual installation, the pouring of the concrete, there will be some cure time yet. On the sidewalk, it's a little less significant. Typically in a day you can walk on it. But you'll notice there will be some driveways that are still closed with barricades and some that will still remain to be until we reach cure enough to support vehicle traffic. So like I said, the installation portion is going to be completed, but there will just be a few more days here yet before everything will be fully open and open to both pedestrian and vehicle traffic. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan and give us a little bit more of the specifics, if you would, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Corey. We've got 3 crews on site again. We've got the pavement removal crew. He talked about that's made it up to Franklin with the removals of the remaining 2 lanes. We're forecasting them being all the way down to Broad by the end of the week, hopefully. And then they will, of course, drop behind and start restoring the road behind the utility crews. We have 2 utility crews. We have a water and sewer lateral crew. They're working currently on the main casing crossing up there at Old West Main and getting that last piece of mainline water tied together. And then our storm crew is currently getting the storm sewer put back together at Cedar Street on the north side of the road, or the east side if you're driving north. Predicting about 3 weeks of utility work remaining on this job, and then we'll turn it over into kind of the side work, the concrete paving of the roads, the asphalt tiebacks, all the work on the side, the landscaping and the masonry and the fences and the ornamental handrails and landscaping, and the beautification of the job will happen starting in probably week 4 if everything goes well. I guess that's pretty much the schedule.
So given that schedule there, Ryan, we talked a little bit before, it's looking like you're about 10 days behind schedule right now with the weather that we've had. There is a possibility to pick up a couple days, as you mentioned, with the utility crews if things go well to keep things moving forward. But we are behind a little bit with the rains. Part of that, these rains haven't been just the rain that you're done for that day. It kind of messed up the size of the rains, or the amount of rain we got, kind of pushed the concrete crews out 2 days, even though the next day might have been nice. The subgrade was too wet to pour, and we kind of talked about that. So with those heavier rains, we've actually lost a few days in there, and that's really kind of kept us from switching the traffic over earlier to get working on the north side. So just want to be upfront there that we are about 10 days behind schedule right now. Completion was for August, what was it again? 21st, August 21st. So we're hoping to pick up some days with good weather here and good work with the utility crews. But just wanted to let everyone know we are 10 days behind as of the scheduling right now.
Jay, to point out, those are 10 calendar days, so Saturdays and Sundays wouldn't count. So it's a 5-day week. We're 2 weeks behind.
2 weeks behind, yep. Corey, anything else on that, or
on the schedule portion?
Yeah.
I mean, just to elaborate a little bit more. I mean, our real, premise for the schedule and the completion date was to restore business access, to allow customers to get to where they need to go, and to hopefully lessen the impacts to the businesses along the project area. And so our intent going forward is going to be just that, to get the through lanes of 61 completed, to get the driveway aprons completed, and so that even if there's work to remain, and there likely will be with the lighting, with the tree work, the sodding work, the intent though is that all the driveways are open and that there's a one lane each direction on 61. So so those impacts are lessened. Still going to be a construction, influence, but just the hope then that people aren't having to go down a block and loop back around, and so that hopefully we can, restore just normal operations from a business standpoint. So that would be that's our main focus here going forward. And as you know, it's being indicated, there's going to be work past this day likely, but hopefully it's not of as much impact as what it is right now. Some other things to add. In addition, or now being on the north side, the intent here is to have the south side open, the sidewalk, all the south side driveways, all the south side, minor streets. There, as I indicated, the sidewalk's getting patched back. We're hopeful here in the next day or so that'll all be able to be accessed with just walking traffic. Driveways are going to continue to progress as well with strength, so hopefully then all the driveways are open. And then the last component to that is the side streets. Right now, Pine and Hill Street aren't restored yet with blacktop pavement, the tie back. We're working with the paving crew to get that, to have them come in and tie those together. So we haven't refined an exact date for that yet. We're hopeful this week. If that date is too far out, we would make a provision then just to temporary ramp those. So they'd be open, they'd still be a gravel surface, but to not allow that closure to progress, longer than a week here. But so that's an update on that. We're working on getting those back open, whether a temporary or permanent situation. Other than that, I don't know if I have any other traffic updates or construction updates you'd like me to touch on, Jay, or
just you touch on those side streets. That's important. We really do want to get those paved and opened up, and if that paving can't happen, we will mobilize to get something placed so the gravel is accessible. Pine Hill, and then I think was it Franklin needed one more lift of pavement as well. So Dakota is completely paved. East and West Avenue, of course, are full pavement, and Cedar is fully paved on the south side. So.
And then this one last, I guess a more general update too. With the traffic switch that happened on Friday, we made an attempt at how we felt traffic would flow. I think we did a very good job. I think people are traveling the corridor now still safely. And as far as the business signing and stuff goes, we had a few complaints that was reached out this weekend. We've made adjustments to those. We've added signs where necessary. We're going to continue to look at. There's some concerns with how the shifting is happening between Broad Street and Bush Street. We're going to take a look at that. We'll revise. And so this traffic control is a constantly evolving thing. And we have some baselines that we can assess whether it's working well or not. But as business owners and travelers continue to reach out to us, and we'll make adjustments where we can. And so it's just wanted to put that out there, that it's an evolving thing. We can certainly make adjustments, and we're trying to. It just takes time sometimes to identify maybe where we had oversights or some signs that was direction was lacking, and so we'll continue to add and make it as easy and as least painful as we can for everybody. So.
Yeah, and Corey did a good job of going down, just kind of doing some business visits to talk with businesses, see with the switch, is there something. That's when we found out about some signage issues. I've been kind of visiting with some of the Old West Main businesses. They're not right on the project, but they're impacted. So I was down there this week, yesterday, talking about signage with a few of the business owners. Additional, working with them to get some additional signage so people are figuring out how to get back on Old West Main to get to those businesses. So, we're trying to be proactive as well. Some of it is reactive. There's no question. Some of it is an email on Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon or whatever it might be, and then we follow up and get out and meet with those businesses. And the post office was one we had a meeting with this week to talk about some access issues there. So we're trying to be both proactive, and then we also react to the calls and emails that we get. So, but overall, I think I've been hearing good things when I visit with the businesses, and and understand its construction, and it's painful and there's inconveniences, but they know we're trying to do the best we can to keep access in and out, and work with the contractor at the same time to make sure their project is moving forward in the manner that they need to have a successful project. So with that, I'll open it up, unless we got anything else here to add. Jerry, anything that you want to talk about before? No. Okay, open it up for questions from the audience here. Anybody have any questions? Schedule or anything? Patty?
Just a question. In front of the chamber, there's the cement, the new cement, and then there's that big asphalt patch. I'm assuming that's maybe for the lighting, or it doesn't remain asphalt.
Well,
Yeah, that's permanent.
that's permanent. Yeah,
That asphalt is no.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful sidewalk except for that.
It's the temporary connection between this summer and next summer.
Okay.
That's
So
exactly
it'll
what it
stay
is.
through the-
Yep, that'll hold through the winter.
Okay.
Yep, and there'll be the same thing will happen over by the Y there, and it's visible in the roadway as well. So it's basically building face to building face. There's going to be a portion of asphalt that will have to stay through the winter, but then will be pulled out, and that's our connection point for next year.
And then that portion that's pulled out that's right at the phase line, that will be the colored concrete, similar to what's out there with the scoring pattern. I believe the scoring just got done recently near the chamber.
Yesterday.
Just yesterday, the scoring cuts were made. So if you go out there, you'll see the 2x2 cuts, which are cosmetic kind of scoring. What they do right away with their concrete pours, get their joints in that they need for to control cracking, and then they come back and do more of the aesthetic type cutting, and that's what was done yesterday. So.
And then the other patch is going to remain grass, or it's going to be grass.
On the East Avenue portion.
Yes.
Yep, there'll be a tree placed there.
There'll be a tree. Okay.
Yep, and then it's just sod. Just
It's
sod.
sod, but that is an option to do something a little bit more there. Maybe that's something we would like to kind of talk to you about. That could be an area, adopt a little, flower bed type thing, or we could put something around there, or, things maybe we'd talk to our planning department. And you could be out there, Patty, keeping that looking beautiful, kind of at our entry. Yeah, but it is a nice little spot where something could, beautify that corner there. So, or put rock.
What's the forecast for reopening Old West Main and Main?
Can give a little insight on that. Right now we have a 3-week outlook schedule. In the first week of August is when we're looking at resuming the concrete paving, and so that would be starting there at the west end. And I see probably a potential with the 61 portion paved, like I indicated here. We're hopeful that would resume the first week of August there. Obviously get concrete cure on there, and I think we're going to be looking to open Old West Main as soon as we're able to. And if that Old West Main, the portion of that to tie back with the asphalt paving, we'll factor into that somewhat. But if we're not able to complete that at a timely period, we maybe look at something similar to what we proposed at Pine and Hill. Is the concrete's done, we allow right in, right out based on just a gravel surface, and be looking at a short closure just to get the pavement done. And so we're going to continue to look at that. We understand it's a very important intersection. But we're hopeful here right now at our schedule, first week of August, that we start paving there. And then that will certainly give us options to how we get that back open and when we do. So no sooner than that, I guess.
To elaborate on that a little bit, it would be, we'd get the concrete paving done, and then there'd be some cure time on that paving. And then when we do open it up, it'd likely just be a right in, right out on Old West Main, which is better than having a full closure. That's now getting access down there, and people can get out right there. But it wouldn't be the fully opened intersection with the functioning signal at that point.
That's right.
That's going to actually be toward the end of the project, to have the full intersection open with because there's a new signal system that has to go in there.
There's concrete medians.
Yeah, there's
concrete median work. And
that's right. That's a very important point to make, that it'd be a right in, right out, which it's certainly going to help from what it is. And basically the only thing that we wouldn't be allowing is a left turn pocket and a left turn from Old West Main onto 61. And so, Old West Main, there's a lot of work there to do. We're going to get it open as soon as we can, but like Jay said, it won't be full access till near the end. There's brand new signal going there. A lot of decorative work at Old West Main. There's a lot of landscaping work there on the radiuses. And not saying we're going to hold off opening the intersection fully until that work's done, but just want to, as far as the project goes, it's probably the most involved intersection in this stage from the amount of work that we're doing off the roadway and on. But so I hope that answers your question, but that's what we're going for.
Patty?
So, do you see any problems with next week? We've got the city days going on, which West Main is a key point of that, getting down to Big Lake Park, Levy Park. Obviously, the detours are all in place. Just wanting you guys to be aware that increase of traffic will start hitting Thursday, basically down into those areas. I don't know if we need to do anything more signage or I just want to throw that out there, make sure we're not. You guys are standing there going, what is going on?
Sure, yep. We could take a look at some things. One thing we should talk to the contractor about is the schedule of your removal schedule a little bit more and where you'll be with the removals by the end of this week. But, it's helped, we get with Broad being open and so forth, that has definitely helped with traffic getting down. Not everything's funneled to Bush Street now in the downtown area. So why don't Corey and I will kind of look that over a little bit and just make sure if there's anything else that we see can be added. We definitely will. I know Jackson's going to get a lot of use with that. Where there's Harbor Drive, to get down in there. We'll take a look and see if there's anything we think should be added during that time. Yep. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for coming.
Get it, Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to go to the overlay now. I forget about that about every other week. Don't I?
That's fine.
I just met with him this morning on it, so I didn't need to hear it again. But.
Thanks, Jay. Yep, everything has been progressing pretty much per plan. We did unfortunately lose Saturday. I heard you got some rain here. So the problem that Saturday imposed is that the work at Sevastopol had been planned to be done this week by Friday and get rid of that detour. So unfortunately losing Saturday is going to cost them a day there, which unfortunately costs that detour another weekend. So they're still on schedule, but it's going to cost them a day. They're hoping to have that back open again probably Monday or Tuesday at the latest of next week, moving down there on Thursday to start paving. So that's the unfortunate loss of Saturday cost another weekend with that detour. But so they're still working on the north side right now. They're approaching the downtown area again, and they'll be flipping around and heading back north again. So they'll keep paving there until they move down to do the paving down at Sevastopol. And then the schedule is to have the paving done on the north side of town here done by the end of next week. There are still a few other items that have to be taken care of once that paving gets done. Trying to encourage them to try to multitask as much as possible with those lane closures. There's some specialized striping that we do that needs to have traffic off it to give it a chance to get set up. As a matter of fact, they can't actually start doing that for 10 days after the pavement's been down. So hopefully they're working on the northbound side that they'll have some days of that cure time taking place, and then they can start that striping ahead of the time when they're actually done with the paving. So we're kind of keeping our eyes on that. But we'll get those lanes closed, those lane closures removed as soon as we possibly can. Probably still looking at early part of August yet. A couple more weeks with that, and then some of the final striping work can be done after those lanes are pulled open. Starting the first week of August, once they get that paving, again, assuming the paving gets done about the 31st of July on the north side of town, then they'll move to the south side of town. That won't take nearly as long. We're looking at about 6 days worth of paving there. There's a section that's 4-lane and a section that's 2 lanes, so they'll be doing the same thing on the 4-lane that we're doing on the north side of town, have lane closed in both directions while the paver and the milling machine kind of start making laps going north to south. And then the section that's 2-lane, they'll just do with a flagging scenario, so they'll have 1 lane closed down but there's not a very long section of that, so it shouldn't take too long to get that taken care of. And then shortly after that, they'll have to do the same kind of striping work and shouldering work there and finish up. We're still looking very strongly at being done ahead of the Labor Day weekend with everything that we're doing on that project. So things are still going pretty well at this point. So
just to reiterate, the detour is staying in place
detour
through the weekend.
will be in place unless something miraculous takes place and they get done faster. We will have the detour for the weekend. And then hopefully Monday or Tuesday at the very latest, having that pulled and all that work down there should be completed. So
One other thing that DOT added to this project was they are going to pave this stretch of roadway kind of coming into town there right by ADM. That wasn't planned for part of the project because it is going to get rebuilt with the bridge project in a few years, but it is in really poor shape, and they're going to do some mill and overlay just the drive lanes through there to get us through. So that was good that they added that on.
yeah, just that. That's about 1,500 feet roughly from Potter to where we were going to start.
Yeah.
Partial way up the road there. So it's in poor enough shape that it's going to be a couple years of sitting there using it. So we'll do about 1.5 inches of mill and fill, basically we refer to it as, and it should go pretty quickly. Get in and out of there, make it a nicer road until the bridge project fires up in a couple of years. So I just got authorization for that yesterday, actually. So,
Yeah.
so we'll add that. Shouldn't take another day or two really of work, so it's not too bad.
Any questions on the overlay project for Jeff here? Jerry, nothing that you got with the utilities?
No, we'll just, as soon as they're progressing with utilities, we'll be taking more people out of temp water and hoping to keep that going up. Other than that, everything's pretty much status quo.
So that with that temp water, they're coming off as those services are connected, correct? Because we've got the mains, of course, are all in, and we're passed under the first phase and ready to hook up. So
Yeah, they haven't quite got there yet.
Yeah.
So the intent is we'll focus in on Old West Main, get the main utilities tied in there. On both sides of Old West Main and at Cedar Street are the last of the mainline utility work from a water and sanitary perspective. There'll continue to be storm all throughout, tying the connections all together. Likewise with water too, I guess, that we're stubbing across the roadway. But along the project, mid-blocks, it's just going to be the surface work. And as you know, all the mains been tested, both pressure and bacteria tested, so it's literally just connecting those services. And once we do make that connection to each property as we go, they're back on normal city water, and we'll remove the temp system as we go as well. So much more streamlined from the utility perspective here on this north side. Okay, thank you for coming.